Hello and welcome to the Invictus Racing League Performance League 2 Canadian Grand Prix. This is going to be an exciting race as we see qualifying is just now getting underway. We are currently riding with the Force India machine of the Warslander. On his outlap, no one has yet completed a lap as qualifying has just gotten underway. We're going to look currently at this Force India machine to see just what he's doing as we go on board with him. Yesterday, during the practice race, there were certain drivers that took the hairpin better than others. So in this in this qualifying session, I want, if I can, to show each onboard camera going through that hairpin just so we can see how they get through it. As we see the Warslander really slowing down, taking that hairpin, but of course this is his outlap. He hasn't started the time yet. As we see the Toro Rosso Red Bull of Wesley swerving his tires, making sure to keep heat in those tires, because that is a very important thing that you want to do. You want to make sure that you have as much heat in those tires as absolutely possible, because the last thing you want to do is go into the corner and then just sail off and boom, you're in the grass or in the wall, and then your qualifying session is ruined. As now Wesley and the Warslander has started their lap. We are going to go on board the Toro Rosso of Wesley as he is in 6th and now shifting down to 4th gear, going through the chicane. Approaching a tight left-hander, but takes it very smooth through the S's. Powering out of the corner. Let's see how fast he is in Sector 2 as Wesley approaches the hairpin. This is going to be a critical turn in this race because you need to get a good exit off of this corner so that you can set yourself up for the best possible time going down this straightaway. This is a DRS zone on this straightaway, and we saw in the practice race yesterday as Meg and Benjamin were racing together, and Meg was able to make an incredible move on the inside of Benjamin on the practice race yesterday in that corner thanks to DRS. Currently our fast time is Nick L.J. Thompson in the Renault. He has posted a 1 minute 9 second lap, 0.7. F1 Mr. P80, we will call him P80 for this session. He has posted a time of 1 minute 10 seconds, 0.202 in second place as he is in the Haas machine. Meg Lugpie, 1 minute 10 seconds, 0.619 as he is in his Sauber. Approaching the S's. Let's see how Meg Lugpie takes this hairpin. He was one of the strongest cars in the hairpin yesterday. Taking the hairpin very slow. But again, he's right now just warming up his tires, just trying to make sure that there's plenty of heat and plenty of grip in those tires. Currently we have had 7 cars post a lap, with Nick Thompson still in the lead by quite a healthy gap with a 1 minute 9 second 0.747 lap. Mr. P80 in second place with a 1 minute 10 second 0.202 still. Meg Lugpie 1 minute 10 seconds 0.619. We see the Toro Rosso of Wesley Van Rens has posted a lap of 1 minute 11 seconds 0.151. The Force India machine, one of the first cars out for qualifying in this session, has posted a time of 1 minute 11.687 seconds so far, but he is dropping back. He was 5th, now he is 7th. There's only 3 cars that have yet to make a lap, and that is Seb, Nitro Gash, and MJ Coupe. So far, nobody has anything for Nick Thompson in the Renault, as Nick Thompson is pulling into his pit box right now. Now we see Mr. P80 in the Haas machine. Can he improve his lap time? He does not. He is still second with a 1:10.202. He is third now with a 1:10.202 as Meg Lugpie. He has posted a faster lap than him. He is now in second place with a 1 minute 10 second .087. As now we see there is a safety flag waving in sectors 2 and sector 3. Unsure what happened there. Going through the S's is Meg Lugpie in the Sauber. Through another set of the S's. This track really has... It has a lot of corners that you first have to turn right and then quickly turn left. And then, of course, we have that hairpin, which will be crucial in this race, I do believe, along with this DRS zone on this straightaway. Nick Thompson in the Renault, still in command of this qualifying session as he still sits on the pole with just under 11 minutes remaining in this session. There is a caution. There is a caution in this section as we have a car stopped on track. That is Joss. Joss is stopped on track. That is so far our fourth fastest car. Not sure what happened there, but he will pull into the pits. We see the Ferrari of Luke Bailey. He is currently our fifth fastest qualifier with a 1:10.703. Going down that long straightaway, having to get really hard on the brakes going through these last two corners. Will he be able to improve his lap time? He does not. So far, still stuck in the fifth position is Luke Bailey. As we only have 3 cars out on track. Let's see what Nick Thompson is doing now. He's about to complete another lap. Nick Thompson will not improve his time this time around, but he is still setting quite comfortably in the pole position. Let's ride on board with him for a full lap. Let's just see what a pole sitter's lap looks like here at this racetrack. As he slows down, shifts into gear 3, taking that hard left and then right-hand corner, powering out of the corner, now in the 6th gear, coming up onto another set of the S's. Now again, my favorite part of this course, this hairpin. I really want to see how he takes this hairpin. He took it slow earlier because he was just warming up his tires. It does look like he is on ultra softs right now. So that could really benefit him in qualifying, as those have a lot of grip. They'll wear faster, but they do have a lot of grip. Slowing down, going through the final 2 corners. Will he be able to improve his lap time? He does. He has posted a 1 minute 9.488. He is now approximately 6 to 7 tenths ahead of second place of Meg Lugpie right now. Remember, this is only a qualifying session for now. Position on track doesn't matter. Time does. As we see, Josh and Wesley are now on their outlap. MJ Coupe, Nitro Gash, and Sab have yet to post a time. There's the Sauber of Joss. Taking it a little wide in that corner, but he's still warming up his tires. Nothing to worry about there. As he's warming up his tires, let's see what Wesley Van Rens is doing. As he is about to complete a lap. No, he is also warming up his tires. Perhaps now will be his attempt at a fast lap. Wesley Van Rens in that Toro Rosso Red Bull, currently in the 6th position with a 1 minute 10.802. Let's ride on board with him and see how his lap is going to go. slowing down, shifting down into gear 3, going through the S's, taking it a little slower than other cars. Still warming up his tires. Don't think he's ready to post a fast lap just yet. As now we ride with the Sauber of Joss. Nick Thompson still in command of this qualifying session with a 1:9.488. He's the only driver so far in this session that has broken into that 1:9 bracket. Everyone else is running about 1:10s or 1:11s, as you can see on the left side of your screen. Taking that hairpin, powering out of the corner, going down the long straightaway, still trying to keep heat in those tires. As we ride on board with Joss as he goes into the final 2 corners. Will he be able to improve his time at all? Not this time around. Still a 1:10.442 for Joss in the Sauber. As now MJ Coupe has come out of the pits and he has posted the 5th fastest lap of 1:10.453. In the McLaren is Coupe. Let's ride on board with him. Going through the S's, taking it very smooth. To the hairpin now. Very smooth, if but a bit slow. Now powering out of the corner, going down the long straightaway. He has the DRS if he wants to use it. Slowing down, going into the corner. Coupe will pull into the pits. He does not want to complete this lap. As now we see the Haas machine of Mr. P80. He is now on his outlap, but he is sitting in 3rd with a 1:10.202. Definitely a respectable position, but I'm sure he would love to sit on the pole if at all possible. Nick Thompson is in the pit. Meg Lugpie is in the pit. We only have 3 cars out here on the track right now, as Sab and Nitro Gas have not yet posted a time. Only 4 minutes and 20 seconds remaining in this qualifying session as the Haas goes around the hairpin. Going down that very long straightaway. Will he pit or will he try to complete this lap to try to improve his time? If he can find just another 10th, or excuse me, just an extra second out of that car, he can have the pole position. Will he improve his time? He does not this time around. He is still at a 1:10.202. Only 2 cars, 3 cars out on track now. That is the Sauber of Meg Lugpie, the Haas of Mr. P80, and the Ferrari of Joss. Excuse me. I believe Joss has retired possibly from the entire session, as with Sab and Nitro Gas. We will have to take a look at that later on. But as of right now, with 3 minutes and 17 seconds remaining, it is still Nick Thompson in the Renault that is in charge of this qualifying session with a 1:9.488 second lap. In second is the Sauber of Meg with a 1:10.087. In third is the Haas that you see on your screen of Mr. P80 with a 1:10.202 as he goes down the long straightaway, hoping this time he will complete a faster lap. Coupe is on his outlap. Luke Bailey is on his outlap as Mr. P80 pulls into the pits. The Ferrari of Luke Bailey going through the final 2 corners to cross the line. Will he improve his time? Not this time around. Will this maybe be his fast lap? We are going to ride on board with him for this entire lap. Coming up on yet another set of the S's. As I said, this track is full of S's. Shifting it down into fourth, going through the right-hander and then the left-hander, powering out of the corner under the Rolex banners. Coming up to the hairpin. How does he take this hairpin? I really like that. He went a little wide coming out of the corner, but that was a nice hairpin. He might be able to improve his time this time around. As he activates the DRS. Will he be able to improve his time? Yes, he does. Luke Bailey has now set the second fastest time. He is at a 1:9.667. Behind only the Renault of Nick Thompson with a 1:9.488. Meg Lugpie now having to settle for third place, but he is out on track right now in his Sauber. We have 1 minute remaining in this qualifying session. Does anyone have anything for Nick Thompson, or will he hold this comfortable pole position? We have 3 cars now that have broken into the 1:09 bracket. "20 seconds remaining. This will be Meg Lugpie's last lap. As we see the Toro Rosso of Wesley Van Rens sitting in third. The Renault of Nick Thompson trying to set a faster lap while he still has the time. How does he take this hairpin? Very nice, very smooth hairpin. That was almost perfect, if not absolutely perfect, as he goes down this long straightaway. Will he be able to improve this time around, or will he have to settle for his already pole position lap of 1:09.488? Coming to the line. He does improve just by a tenth. He is now sitting in the pole position with a 1:09.317 lap with Meg Lugpie in the Sauber. 1:09.589. Luke Bailey in the Ferrari, who is in the pits, has posted the third fastest time of 1:09.667. The Toro Rosso of Wesley Van Rens has posted the fourth fastest time of 1:09.699. The fifth fastest time is the Haas machine of Mr. P80 with a 1:10.202. The Warislander in the Force India machine, one of the first cars out on track for qualifying, has set the sixth fastest time with 1:10.270. Joss in the Sauber has posted the seventh fastest time with a 1:10. And now qualifying is over, and shortly we will be starting this race. I'm honestly surprised to see that today's lap times are just slightly slower than yesterday's. Yesterday, fast laps were 1:08. Today, it's a 1:09. As now I can continue going down the board with Joss in the Sauber team with a 1:10.421. Coop in the McLaren with a 1:10.453, lining up in 8th. In 9th is going to be Betrayer 46 in the McLaren with a 1:10.688. Sab and Nitro Gas will start 10th and 11th. Neither of them was able to post a time. Momentarily, our race in Canada will start. As you look over to the right side of your screen, you can see the cars lining up onto the grid. Remember, it is going to be the Renault of Nick Thompson that has set the pole. As we look down into the F1 garage area, it is actually a beautiful sight to me. I don't know why, I always love the look of pit areas. As we wait for the drivers to ready up, and this race will start soon. Meg Lugpie currently in first place in the points, mind you, so he has a lot on the line today, as he would definitely love to hold his lead in the points. His team of Mega Coupe Racing, which is Meg Lugpie and MJ Coupe, they are currently leading the Constructors' Championship with 60 points. And behind them is the Kamikaze F1 pilots of Joss Hennessy and Scopefielder. Scopefielder unfortunately could not be here tonight, and that is very unfortunate for him, as he is actually sitting second place in the points, only 13 behind Meg Lugpie. As now we see the cars are on the grid, and we are about to go green. And we are green, we are off, and Nick Thompson gets an amazing start ahead of everyone else. That is a huge gap already that he has put on the rest of the pack in that Renault. Meg Lugpie in the Sauber in second place, 1.3 seconds behind, now 0.9 seconds behind. Luke Bailey in that Ferrari, just behind Meg Lugpie. I believe this is actually our formation lap, excuse me. So I am actually jumping the gun. I'm just so excited to get this race underway that I can hardly contain myself, and that our formation lap excites me. But that is truly the way to be, as we as race fans and racers alike love anything cars, anything with wheels that move, we love. I'm going to go back to the broadcast view as we see the Renault, the Sauber, and the Ferrari, currently our top three, swerving, trying to get heat in those tires. Again, very important you keep heat in those tires for your grip, because you do not want to sail off into the corner and it have no grip. You will be in the grass, into the wall, race ruined after that. Please excuse the popping and crackling you may have just heard. We had some minor technical difficulties that are now fixed, as we are about to officially go green on this race. The cars are sitting there lined up, ready, watching the light. We are green, we are away. The Renault of Nick Thompson currently in control of this race, but he is getting a lot of pressure from the Sauber of Meg in second place, but he clears him going into the corner, as now we see a big battle heating up for second, third, and fourth. And now just for second and third, that is the Sauber of Meg and the Toro Rosso Red Bull of Wesley Van Rens. Just behind Wesley is the Ferrari of Luke Bailey. Luke Bailey making sure to keep Wesley in his sights. Wesley being sure to keep Meg in his sights, while Nick Thompson has nothing but clear track ahead of him at the moment, as he is almost a full second in front of Meg. Approaching the hairpin now, as Luke Bailey tries to make a move on the Toro Rosso, but does not make it stick this time around. But that's okay, this is a 35-lap race, and we are only on lap 1. If you want to finish first, you have to finish. And you do not want to make a mistake early, you do not want to take any unnecessary risks. Maybe that Ferrari's going to make a move on him, but no, he does not, as Meg Lugpie actually gets in the wall just a little bit. Let's go on board now. Excuse me, that was Wesley Van Rens who got in the wall. Let's go on board with him now and see if there is any damage whatsoever. So far, so good, as he holds third position, but he is most definitely having plenty of pressure from behind from that Ferrari of Luke Bailey. Right now, we're all just kind of settled in a line. We're now just riding around. Just as I say that, Luke Bailey tries to make a move on Wesley, but it does not work. As Luke Bailey slams the wall pretty hard. Not sure if there's going to be any damage on him. I almost would expect damage, though. Luke Bailey trying to make a move on Wesley going into the hairpin. Will he make it stick? No, he does not. Wesley retains third position for now. As we look at the battle up front, or lack thereof, as Nick Thompson in the Renault is absolutely in command of this race for now, with a 1.2 second gap on the Sauber of Meg. As we go back and look at the Toro Rosso and the Ferrari battle, will Luke Bailey be able to make it stick right now? Going into turn 1. Yes, he will. He will be able to make it stick, and he clears Wesley. He clears the Toro Rosso. The Ferrari is now in third place, with the Toro Rosso in fourth. But the Toro Rosso of Wesley will not give that position up very easily. He is now putting an enormous amount of pressure on the Ferrari of Luke. That's what you want to do, though. That is definitely what you want to do. If a car is faster than you, it is best to surrender the position now, especially if you know that you have a strong enough car to take it back later. Right now, one thing that Wesley could do is just watch what Luke Bailey is doing. Luke Bailey obviously has a faster car than him right now. Watch what he's doing. Try to follow his line as much as possible to try to match, if not top, his speed. Looking now at the Sauber of Joss Hennessy, or Heinz. Going into the final two corners of this lap. Nick Thompson in the Renault has now posted the fastest lap of 1:12.869. As he has absolutely no pressure from behind from Meg, as the gap has now increased to 1.6. The Ferrari of Luke Bailey in a world of his own in third place. Definitely wish he was in... I'm almost sure he wishes he was in first, as now we see the Sauber making a move on the Toro Rosso, but the Toro Rosso Red Bull of Wesley is fighting back and fighting back hard. But the Sauber gets the position for now. Will he keep it as they go into this set of the S's? They are now about to head toward the turn pin. The hairpin, excuse me. That Force India machine now trying to make a move on that Sauber. Will they be able to make it stick? He's on the inside, but they will not be able to make it stick. And Wesley keeps his position on the Force India machine as Joss is now pulling away in his Sauber. We see a big cluster of cars back there in the pack. We see the McLaren of Coupe, the Toro Rosso of Wesley, the Force India machine of Warslander, as Warslander was able to get by the Toro Rosso of Wesley. I'm not sure what's wrong with Wesley, but apparently his car is just struggling and fading right now, as he is now getting a lot of pressure from Coupe. Let's ride on board with Wesley, see if maybe we can figure out what's happening. He did hit the wall earlier. He might have damage, and that might be affecting his car. The Sauber of Joss in a world of his own in fourth place. The Ferrari of Luke in a world of his own in third place. Meg Lugpie in a world of his own in second place. But chasing down that Renault of Nick Thompson is the entire field. Nick Thompson is absolutely in command of this race. As we are about to start lap 6, Nick Thompson set on the pole and has so far led every lap of this race. As now there is a battle with Wesley and MJ Coupe, as Wesley is now pulled into the pits. Let's watch his pit stop. He has a 5-second time penalty, it looks like, so this is going to be a very long pit stop. The crew lifts the car up, puts the tires on, sets the car back down. But he will have to serve that time penalty, and that has got to hurt, as you know your pit stop is over, but you cannot yet move. And now Wesley is away out of the pit lane. He will join the pack in next to last place. That is the 10th position. He has a lot of ground to make up to go back to the front, if at all possible. But now he has fresh tires. With this early pit, maybe, just maybe, this strategy will play out for him and help him in the long run later on in this race. As we're now going to take a look at Nick Thompson, and let's just ride on board with Nick Thompson for this next lap, as I want to see exactly what he's doing in every single corner. What makes a fast car? What makes a fast line? As we now are on lap 7 of 35. Nick Thompson going into turn 1, now into turn 2. Slow corner as he's in second gear, powering out into third gear, fourth gear, going down the straightaway. The gap back to Meg Lugpie is only 1.5 seconds, but it has got to seem like an eternity to Meg Lugpie when he looks in front. Going through another set of the S's. As Coop has received a 3-second time penalty, likely for corner cutting. Going through another set of the S's is Nick Thompson. I want to see how every single car takes this hairpin. Nick Thompson taking it very smooth. Meg Lugpie just behind him. Driving down the long straightaway. Meg Lugpie is not close enough to get a DRS. But the gap is slowly closing, now down to 1.4 seconds, with Luke Bailey in the Ferrari in third. And getting pressure now from the Sauber of Joss is Luke Bailey in that Ferrari. Will Joss be able to make a pass this lap? Joss is looking on the inside, but he's not going to make it stick this time. He does not make that move. Again, it's early in the race, though. These drivers are just riding. They're not wanting to take too many risks too early. As now there is a caution flag waving only in Sector 2 on the racetrack. The Ferrari and the Sauber battling it out, trying to hold on to third position is the Ferrari of Luke Bailey. Putting pressure on Luke Bailey is the Sauber of Joss. Will he get the DRS? Yes, he will. He is close enough. Will he activate it? Will he pass Luke Bailey going into this corner? We are on board, and he is making a move on the inside. On the inside of Luke Bailey is that Sauber of Joss, and he clears Luke Bailey. He is now in third place. Joss has a fast car. I'm going to watch him throughout the entire course of this race, because I do believe he has one of the fastest, if not the fastest car on this track. As now we see Mr. P80 has gotten a 3-second time penalty from the stewards. As we look back at our battle up front, or again a lack thereof, as Nick Thompson is still in command of this race. Meg Lugpie just barely cutting that gap down to what is now a 1.2 second gap. Meg Lugpie and Joss, those two Sauber cars, those are the ones I'm watching today. Those are the ones that so far early on in this race look to be very fast. But no one has anything for Nick Thompson just yet. Meg Lugpie has now cut that gap down to only 0.8 seconds. We are going to go on board with Meg Lugpie. Not sure if Nick Thompson has used up his tires, or if he's about to pit, or if he's just slowing down, trying to save his equipment. But definitely not as fast as he was in the early goings of this race. Meg Lugpie trying to get closer to Nick. She might be able to make the pass this lap, I'm not sure. Let's ride on board momentarily with Nick to see if there is any problem at all. Everything seems smooth sailing from what I can tell here. as we will activate the telemetry. Approaching the hairpin now is the Renault and the Sauber. Meg Luckpie now down to just 0.3 of a second, now 0.5 of a second behind the Renault, now 0.4 of a second. On board with Meg as he is going to try to make a move on Nick, but he will not make that move this time as Nick goes into the pits. Meg Luckpie will assume the lead as we watch Nick's pit stop, making that long drive down pit road. Tires off, tires are on, and the Renault is away. Right now he is in 4th, now 5th. He is just dropping like a rock as he has to maintain pit road speed. He will rejoin this race in what appears to be the 6th position, just in front of Luke Bailey. Luke Bailey now in the pits. Meg Luckpie currently in command of this race in that Sauber, with the Sauber of Joss just behind. 4 seconds behind, though. That is a long gap. But we are currently in the middle of pit stops. Once these pit stops cycle around, I do believe Nick Thompson will get the lead back once again. Because now there's a lead, a battle for 5th position as Nick Thompson went by the Haas of Mr. P80 as he is pulling into his pit now. Now, he got a penalty earlier. He will have to serve it this time in the pit lane. As he pulls into his pit, the cars lift up, tires are put on, the crew lets it down. My mistake. There was no penalty that had to be served there, as the Haas is now away. Where will he rejoin this race? He will rejoin this race, currently in the 8th position, just ahead of the Force India machine of Warslander. Meg Luckpie still in command of this race. Our pole sitter of Nick in that Renault, sitting in 5th place. Currently on super soft tires, going through that hairpin, powering out of the corner, going down the long straightaway. Now Meg Luckpie and Joss, MJ Coop and Sab, all 4 of those drivers still need to pit. They have not yet pitted as we are now about to start lap 14 of 35 in this race. Excuse me, we are on lap 13 of 35. As we go up to the lead to look at Meg Luckpie. Meg Luckpie, a 3-second time penalty from the stewards, most likely for corner cutting. The stewards do not mess around. If you cut that corner, they will cut you down. The steward's word is law. Race control's word is law. So he will have to serve that time penalty when he does pit, and that will be detrimental to the track position that he had prior. But for now, he is going to stay out onto the racetrack, trying to increase his lead as much as absolutely possible, as his teammate of Joss is behind in that Sauber. Now remember, Meg Luckpie is currently leading the points in this Performance League 2 division. Currently leading the points. That penalty will hurt him. Not sure how much. Yesterday, he did not win the practice race. He crossed the line first, but due to a time penalty, he had to settle for second. he is wanting to make one more position up today. As Saab has unfortunately had to retire. That is the Mercedes. So Saab with the DNF will finish in 11th, with Wesley Van Rens getting a 3-second time penalty from race control. Now I'm waiting for Meg, Joss, and Coop to pit. They still need to make their pit stops. All three of them, I believe, do need to make their pit stops. We ride on board right now with our leader in the Sauber, going into turn 1 and now through turn 2. Be careful, Meg, not to cut the corner. You do not want another 3-second time penalty from the stewards. Joss Hennessy, the Sauber behind, as now the Haas of Mr. P80 has gotten another 3-second time penalty. Currently running in the 7th position now is that Haas. Now in the 6th, as it looks like there's actually a battle behind, and the Toro Rosso Red Bull of Wesley actually gets into the back of the Haas machine. There's got to be some damage on the front wing of Wesley on that Toro Rosso Red Bull, as, oh my goodness, they absolutely crashed going into the corner. Both the Haas machine and the Toro Rosso Red Bull have crashed going into the corner. They are both sitting in the grass, rear to rear, completely unmovable. And that is unfortunate for both of those drivers, as that will almost certainly end their day. But a safety car will not come out, as now we see the Haas pulling away. The Haas is pulling away right now, but has stopped on the track. There is a caution in Sector 1, obviously, for obvious reasons, as the Haas machine of Mr. P80 is right now pulling away. Going back to the lead is we will see our leader of Meg Luckpie. Still hasn't made that pit stop. Coop has received a 3-second time penalty from the stewards, likely for cutting the corners. Let's go on board with Meg Luckpie. Those Ultra Softs have got to be wearing thin. There's now 16 laps on those tires, I believe. Powering out of the corner, trying to keep the power down. Down the long straightaway. Teammate of Joss in another Sauber just behind, as now Meg will pull into the pits. Will his teammate pull in with him? He does not, as now Joss will inherit the lead, and Meg Luckpie will pull into his pit box to make his pit stop and serve the time penalty. Now remember, folks, that is our points leader that you currently see on your screen. But no time penalty is apparently being served in the pit box. Maybe the stewards, maybe race control will just take the time off when the race ends. Now, Meg in the 4th position, just behind the McLaren of MJ Coop. We see a nice rear shot of that McLaren. Those red Super Softs getting the job done for him so far, as he's running in the 3rd position. 3 seconds ahead of him was our pole sitter of Nick Thompson in his Renault machine, as he is going down the long straightaway. And just ahead, we see going into the final quarter to complete this lap is the Sauber of Joss. Definitely some strategy in play here, as some cars have Ultra Softs and some with Super Softs. Going a little wide in the corner there was Joss, and going wide coming out of the corner, almost getting into the wall, was that Sauber. Going through the S's now. Going very wide, almost in the grass. Joss is really just driving that car on a knife's edge. Just trying to get every 10th of a second that he possibly can out of that car. So he's now going down the long straightaway. And now we look at the view from second place of Nick Thompson. And you cannot even see the leader up front with that 5-second gap. Joss completing another lap. We are now on lap 19 of 35. Through turns 1 and 2, and MJ Coupe has finally decided to make his pit stop, as we will take a look at him. He is making that long drive down pit road, and now he pulls into his box as the crew services the car. Apparently he has received a time penalty of sorts, but he is now away at the end of the pit lane. He will rejoin the race in what looks to be the 5th position, 11 seconds behind the Ferrari of Luke Bailey. Now remember, we have had 3 retirements from this race. That is the Toro Rosso of Wesley, the Haas of Mr. P80. Those two got into a collision just a few laps ago, and our first retirement of the race was Sab in the Mercedes. So we see MJ Coupe currently in 5th in a world of his own. As now our leader, Joss, is moving down the pit road. And Nick will inherit the lead once again in his Renault machine with Meg Lugpie 12 seconds behind. Luke Bailey in that Ferrari right now in the 3rd position as Joss is taking his pit stop. Meg Lugpie 7 seconds behind the Renault of Nick Thompson. Does anybody have anything for that Renault, our pole sitter? That is a big gap to make up 7 seconds. I'm not sure if Meg will be able to do it, even with a fast car. We see the Renault entering the hairpin right now. Very smooth through that hairpin, powering out of the corner, going down that long straightaway. Going through the final 2 corners to complete this lap is the Renault of Nick Thompson. Meg Lugpie in that Sauber, 7.5 seconds behind, and that has definitely got to hurt. Before pit stops, that interval was down to just 1.4 seconds, but now it is 7 seconds. And that gap is just increasing. It is now 7.5 seconds. The Ferrari of Luke Bailey just behind the trees there. 3 seconds behind Meg Lugpie is that Ferrari. I truly don't know if anybody at all has anything for Nick Thompson. Right now, Nick Thompson is running an almost perfect race. Got the pole, set the fastest time, has been leading from the start of this race, with the exception of pit stops when Meg Lugpie and then momentarily Joss was leading, both Saubers. But I do believe our fastest car on the track right now is Nick Thompson. If I were Nick, what I would do is, knowing that there's a 7-second gap and knowing that we have approximately 14 laps to go, is to just ride and be very, very gentle. You do not want to get a time penalty. You do not want to wreck. You do not want to spin. You just want to drive. You want to drive very carefully so that you can win this race. So we see the Sauber of Meg Luckpie going through the S's. What a beautiful shot that is, and coming out of the corner. The gap, 7.6 seconds as Nick Thompson is slowly increasing that gap on that Sauber. 4 seconds behind the Sauber now is Luke Bailey, as Warslander in that Force India machine has received a 3-second time penalty. We're going to go on board with Meg Luckpie, and as you see, there is no Renault in sight, and that has definitely got to hurt. Second place, a very respectable position indeed, but I know he wants one more. Remember, that is our points leader, Meg Luckpie. Nick Thompson is in third place in the points. He will make up ground if he's able to win this race. Lap 23 of 35 now. Going down the line now, in first place we have the Renault of Nick Thompson. In second place, the Sauber of Meg Luckpie. In third place, we will have the Ferrari of Luke Bailey, as he is going under the Pirelli banner, approaching these S's. In fourth place is the Sauber of Joss, just behind that Ferrari of Luke Bailey. 8 seconds behind Joss is the McLaren of Coop. Behind Coop, 6 seconds behind, is that Force India machine of Warslander. Then we have Betrayer, 8 seconds behind the Force India, and Nitro Gash in 8th place in that Mercedes. And of course our 3 retirements of Wesley, Sab, and Mr. P80. Nick Thompson still in control of this race. Again, I believe he is running an almost perfect race. He has led every lap except when he had to pit. Meg inherited the lead. After he pitted, teammate of Joss inherited the lead, as Luke Bailey in the Ferrari has now gotten a 3-second time penalty, possibly for corner cutting. And now we see Joss in the Sauber just behind Luke Bailey, trying to make up a little bit of ground. Maybe he'll be able to make a move here in a lap or two. Maybe even shorter than that, who knows. We're going to go on board with the Sauber to see just how close he is to that Ferrari. He is keeping that Ferrari in his sights as they are approaching the hairpin. Around the hairpin they go. Ferrari versus Sauber. Will the Sauber get the DRS? Yes, the Sauber will get the DRS. But a position will not be made up this time around. 24 laps completed now. We are on lap 25 of 35. Only 11 laps to go. That Sauber getting very close to Luke Bailey right now. Right on his bumper is that Sauber of Joss. But he gets in the grass and loses a little bit of time going into that corner. Keeping him in his sights, though, is that Sauber with Luke Bailey, knowing he has pressure from behind and knowing that he needs to keep that Sauber behind him as long as possible. Approaching another set of the S's once we go down this long straightaway. And the Sauber absolutely blows by the Ferrari of Luke Bailey, as now Joss in the Sauber is in third place, with Luke Bailey having to settle for fourth for now. But he will not give it up that easily, as he is right on his bumper in the hairpin. Goes in just a little bit hot, comes out very high in that corner, and we just see the Sauber pulling away. And Luke can do nothing but sit and wish he was still up there, as he has gotten the DRS. He will try to make a move. He will not make this move going into this corner, but he has gotten much closer to that Sauber of Joss. Into turns 1 and 2 now. 1 second is the gap to third place for Luke Bailey, as that Sauber of Joss is absolutely pulling away from that Ferrari, trying to catch his teammate of Meg, but That is 6 seconds ahead, and 5.4 seconds ahead of Meg is the Renault of Nick Thompson, who has been in command all day. So we see Thompson now going down that long straightaway. Absolutely no pressure from behind. Going into the final 2 corners to complete this lap. A beautiful line going through that corner. Absolutely perfect. 26 laps completed. Now on lap 27 of 35. Will we see another set of pit stops or no? Will anybody make a pit stop? Likely not. I think this is only going to be a one-stop race. Meg Luckpie has decreased that gap only a very little bit, now down to 5 seconds. He goes through the S's. Under that Pirelli banner, through another set of the S's. Now approaching the hairpin, my favorite part of this racetrack, as Nick Thompson is now in that hairpin and takes it very smoothly. And now we see Meg Luckpie taking that hairpin, also takes it very smoothly. And now we see Joss taking that hairpin very smoothly. Not quite as fast as Meg and Nick, I don't think, but still a very good line through that hairpin indeed. That Ferrari of Luke Bailey is now 3 seconds behind that Sauber of Joss. Once Joss got by that Ferrari, he just completely checked out. But there is a huge, huge gap between the Sauber of Joss and the Renault of Nick Thompson that is still in first place. He is absolutely in command of this race. Through the S's. Under the Pirelli banner. Through another set of the S's. Soon will be approaching the hairpin yet again is that Renault machine of Nick Thompson. Very nice through that hairpin. Meg Luckpie also very nice through that hairpin. Keeping right with the groove. Now take a look at the racetrack. You can actually see the rubber buildup on the racetrack. That is, in theory, the groove that you want to follow. That is the racing line. Meg Luckpie going only a little bit wide out of that corner, but I don't think it hindered the speed at all. 28 laps complete. Only 6 laps remaining. Meg Luckpie has decreased the gap to 4 seconds, 3.8 seconds now, as I believe Nick Thompson is slowing down tremendously. I'm not sure if his tires have worn out or if he's just trying to take it easy because he knows that he has a fast car and he knows that he has a comfortable gap and he can afford to do that. Through the hairpin yet again is Nick, and Meg Luckpie just behind him. Powering out of that corner is the Sauber of Meg Luckpie as we ride on board with him. That Renault is just barely in Meg's sights. As now the Renault is going through the final 2 corners, about to complete this lap, with Meg Luckpie trailing just behind. Lap 30 of 35 now. Into turn 1, into turn 2 is the Renault of Nick Thompson. Just behind him is Meg Luckpie. If Nick were to do so much as get just a little bit loose coming out of these corners, just a little wiggle, Meg might be able to make up that ground, as it is now down to 3.1 seconds. Three seconds now is the gap. But holding somewhat steady is the Renault, as Meg Luckpie has now gotten a 3-second time penalty. 2.8 seconds now is the gap. Going down that very long straightaway. We're going to ride on board with Meg Luckpie. Does she have anything for Nick Thompson? She is going to have only 5 laps to prove it, as we have completed 30 laps. This is now lap 31 of this race of the Canadian Grand Prix for the Invictus Racing League Performance League 2. Teammate of Meg Luckpie, Joss, in that Sauber, 5 seconds behind him. No pressure from behind, as Joss has pulled away from Luke Bailey since passing him a few laps ago. The gap now shrinking down to 2.6 seconds, as Meg Luckpie is trying to make up every bit of ground he possibly can before this race is over. .1 seconds now is the gap. Coming out of the hairpin is the Renault and then the Sauber of Meg. Going down the very long straightaway, Meg is not close enough for that DRS. You have to be within 1 second of the car ahead in order to be able to activate your downforce reduction system to get more speed down the straightaway. Not close enough yet is Meg Luckpie. Now only 4 laps to go. Lap 32 of 35 laps here in the Canadian Grand Prix. Meg doing absolutely all he can to decrease that gap as much as absolutely possible, as is now down to 1.8 seconds, 1.9 seconds now, as Nick has put just a little bit of time on him. 1.8 seconds again. There is Nick in the Renault machine, still in command of this race, but I am not sure for how long. If Meg Luckpie is going to have anything for him at all, he is going to have to make that move, and make that move soon. But to make that move, first you have to catch the leader. The gap now down to just 1.6 seconds. Maybe, just maybe, if Meg Luckpie can make up 0.7 of a second this lap, he will be able to get the DRS down that straightaway, but only if he can make up that much time. The gap now down to 1.4 seconds, as we see the Renault of Nick Thompson still in command, but lurking just behind in the weeds, ready to pounce, is Meg Luckpie in that Sauber. Lap 33 of 35. This race is going to get intense. Coop with a 3-second time penalty. Coop currently running in the 5th position in his McLaren, as we keep our eyes fixed on this battle for the lead. The gap now down to just 1 second exactly. Now 0.9 seconds. 0.9 of a second separate our leader and Meg Luckpie in that Sauber. Now just 0.7 of a second as they approach the hairpin. Both drivers have been very strong all day in this corner, and Meg Luckpie has increased has decreased that gap tremendously. And will he be able to get that DRS? He got the DRS, but will not be able to make the move this time, as Nick Thompson is still in command. We have only 2 laps remaining in this race. If Meg Luckpie has anything for Nick, he is going to have to show it, and show it very soon. A fast car is that Sauber, but a fast car is that Renault as well. That Renault was our pole sitter. Now we see Meg Luckpie right on the bumper of that Renault of Nick Thompson. Powering out of the corner, trying to get the DRS. got the DRS. Megluckpie makes a move for the lead, and Megluckpie in that Sauber is now in command of this race. He has made a move for the lead. Will he pull away from Nick Thompson, or will Nick Thompson get the lead back going into the hairpin? They approach the hairpin. They are in the hairpin. Nick Thompson tries to make up the ground, but he does not do it. He is not to hit Megluckpie's bumper. Going down the straightaway, only half a second behind is that Renault of Nick Thompson. He will get the DRS going down the straightaway. Will he be able to make this move? No, he will not this time, but he is right there. One mistake from Megluckpie, and Nick Thompson will get this position. White flag is now in the air. Last lap for Megluckpie and Nick Thompson. This is an absolutely intense battle, and it will go to the final corner, the final straightaway. Approaching another set of the S's as they go by the Fly Emirates banners. Under the Pirelli banner, through the S's, now approaching the hairpin as they run under the Rolex banner, is the Sauber of Megluckpie, and just behind, lurking behind, is Nick Thompson in that Renault. Will Nick Thompson have anything at all for Megluckpie? This is the final stretch. Excuse me, the second to final stretch, as this is the final DRS zone. Nick Thompson will not be able to make this move on Megluckpie. It is going to come down to any time penalties that these drivers will have to serve. That will decide the race, as Megluckpie will cross the line in first place, but Nick Thompson is officially given the win, as Megluckpie has a time penalty that he must serve. Nick Thompson in the Renault has currently and officially won this race. Our pole sitter of Nick Thompson, winner in Canada. So now we see MJ Coupe completing his final lap, crossing the line in 5th position, and now the Force India machine and what appears to be the McLaren just behind him of Betrayer 46. This battle is for the 6th position, but there will be no battle, there will be no move, as the Force India machine will cross the line in 6th position. Just behind him is that McLaren of Betrayer. Nitro Gash in the Mercedes, going through the final 2 corners. Now on the final stretch, he will cross the line in 8th position, as we congratulate our winner in the Renault of Nick Thompson. An exciting race here in Canada, as now we see the drivers on the podium. Time to celebrate. The official results are Nick Thompson in the Renault finishing in 1st place. Just behind is Megluckpie in the Sauber in 2nd place. Teammate of Joss in the Sauber in 3rd place. Luke Bailey in that Ferrari in 4th place. Coupe in the McLaren in 5th. 6th place is the Betrayer 46, also in a McLaren. 7th is the Force India machine of Warislander. Nitro Gash in the Mercedes in 8th place, and Wesley Van Rens, Sab, and Mr. P80 finished 9th, 10th, and 11th after they had to retire from this race early. That is it for the race. Here momentarily we will try to get an interview with the podium finishers. We will try to get an interview with the podium finishers. That was an absolutely intense race. Megluckpie, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
All right, can you invite to this party the first and third place finishers? That would be Nick Thompson.
I sure can. Hopefully they'll be joining.
Awesome. So while I have you here, I would like to ask, that was an impressive run. You were not able to clinch that win because you had a time penalty, but I do still feel that you need to be proud of having such a fast car because with only, I believe, 7 laps to go, you made up a 7-second gap, and that is just magnificent. I'm not exactly sure what was going on with Nick's car, but you were definitely faster. Just the time penalty definitely got you. So just tell me about your race and what made you so fast today.
Um, well, hard to say really. Car I just felt nice. Car felt nice. I think it's a bit of a bummer that I did have those two penalties. Uh, just obviously track extended or cut corner a little bit here and there over the few laps. And still managed to make a one-stop work just so. Yeah, it's pretty pleased. I was biding my time knowing that Nick's tyres would go off. Um, and yeah, just pretty happy for another podium.
So, technically speaking, Nick has gained on you with this win, but we will have to wait for the points to be posted. But I feel as though you will still be leading the points. Do you feel like you'll be able to hold the point lead all season and perhaps contend for a championship when the time comes?
Yeah, well, I think Nick's gained on me by 3 points, but I think net to second place, I'm probably increased, so I'm feeling pretty good on that. Um, yeah, I hope to keep this form going. Um, it's it's just really good. I mean, 3 wins in a second place isn't bad.
That is definitely something to be proud of. I mean, you definitely had a fast car. You seem like you really have a handle on this track, especially yesterday during the practice race when you made that amazing move through the final 2 corners, and of course, only to finish second again because of time penalties. But again, as I said, you have an absolute grasp on this track. Do you mind telling us your secret, I suppose, if you have any?
I will in a second. Just do you want to just switch parties to the other two podium finishes? Because it doesn't look like they can join us in the commentary box.
Um, yeah, yes. I see an invitation. I will join it now. Nick Thompson, can you hear me? All right, so Nick Thompson, you are the winner of this race because Meg Luckpie, unfortunately for him, sustained time penalties. So tell me, what made you so fast? Because you sit on the pole, you had a blistering lap of a 1 minute 9. I believe it was a 2:02. I'll have to check back, but you had an absolutely blistering lap. You held the pole in qualifying for most of the time, and you were able to walk away with the win, despite not crossing the line in first, but crossing it in second. So tell me about your race and what made you so fast, especially in qualifying.
Catch up pretty quick. But I'd heard over the radio that he picked up some penalties, so I didn't want to fight him too hard, especially as I really pushed my tyres and I was struggling for grip at the end. So I was quite happy to just tuck in behind and take the win.
Yeah, Meg Luckpie, in approximately 7 laps or so, 7 to 10 laps, was able to make up a 7 second gap on you, and that was actually going to be my next question: is what was going on there? But I think you just answered it a minute ago, as you said that it was in fact your tires that had burnt out, was it not?
Well, yeah, they were obviously a good several laps younger than Meg, but Meg is obviously incredibly quick. He's won 3 of the last 4 races. You know, a guy like that's going to catch you very quick, regardless of your tyres. But yeah, that was what was happening. He had a lot of pace, and I was sort of trying to manage my tyres as well. So.
Okay, and then we have Joss in the Sauber. Tell us about your race today, because you looked to have a fast car. You just didn't quite have the track position.
Nah, I bottled it on quali. I was going out for my ultra soft lap, and I was warming up my tires and just drove into the wall. And I think my race was good. I started on the super soft. I was getting past people really fast. I don't know, they were struggling, I think, and I was feeling good on the super soft, and was catching Meg and Nick at one time. Nick pitted pretty early because he was on a hypers, of course, and yeah, Meg was going way longer than I thought he was. So my tires were like 50% at my first stint, and I had a 5-second stop and go penalty for making contact at the beginning with F1 Mr. P. So that, I think that fucked up my race.
It likely did. I'm noticing that time penalties sometimes seem to change the game, as yesterday in our practice race, which I'm not sure if you participated in or not, Meg Lugpie finished second, crossing the line first, but finished second again due to a time penalty. And the same story happened again, just with different finishers. But unless you three have anything you want to say, I thank you for your time, and I thank you for putting on an absolutely amazing race.
Guys.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
you all
cheers.
have a wonderful night. And everyone watching on the stream, everyone watching on playback, I hope you have a wonderful day, a wonderful night, a wonderful morning, a wonderful whatever time it is where you are right now from the Canadian Grand Prix. This is Tim Bodie, and I thank you, and join us next week. This is the Invictus Racing League Performance League 2 race.